Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me here, Chris Herman, for another episode of On Deck here at the Herman Agency. It's been a little bit, took a little bit of break for some episodes. Lots been going on in the world and really didn't feel like I had too much to contribute to what we're seeing in the world right now. So I just wanted to give it a little time to air out for a touch. Not that we are any further along in any of that. But that being said, I did want to use this as an opportunity to, let's say, revise my 2022 forecast. A few months ago, I talked about what I thought we could expect to see in the retail automotive business for the year 2022. And as many people, my father included, have said to me, man makes plans and God laughs. I think that's certainly true for me in terms of what I thought this year was going to pan out to be for our industry and what I think we're going to see in terms of adjustments. And so, if I were to go back a couple months ago, I think that we all felt like a few things. Number one, we knew that the chip situation was not going to resolve immediately, but that through the course of 2022, we should start seeing inventory levels not normalized, but start coming back to some degree of normal. And I know that there's a number of manufacturers out there that, are moving in a positive direction with production. But I think that, looking at what's going on in the world today, I think we all need to anticipate not only some continued tightening in the supply of the microchips, but just overall continued disruption in the supply chain. I've heard a lot of dealers talk about potential problems with wiring harnesses and windshields and all kinds of stuff. And so I think, going back a couple months ago, I was saying, and I look back now and I think, boy, that was kind of silly, that in 2021, we were responding to a situation, meaning that the chip crisis happened and we were all adjusting our businesses accordingly to be able to continue to thrive during these challenging times. And my statement at the beginning of 2022, which was only just a couple months ago, as we approach the end of March here, was that at least this year we should have, a relatively decent view on how the year will pan out, and that we shouldn't be reacting so much. And maybe that's still true, but I just feel that it's important for all of us in this industry to really wrap our heads around the fact that not only is the microchip shortage going to continue to cause strain on new vehicle production, but now with the situation in Ukraine, with an increased or a renewed outbreak of COVID in certain provinces of China, that it's likely that we're going to see continued pressure on the supply chain. And so what does that all mean? I think it means that we just need to get our heads wrapped around the fact that this is the new normal. This is the landscape that we're operating in. And to sit and think and prognosticate about when things are going to change, when microchips are going to, increase in production, when we're not going to see any additional pressures on the supply chain. I don't know that, and I am no expert, right? But I read enough and I pay attention enough to surmise my own opinion. And so what I'm sharing with you is my opinion. And my opinion is that this is the new normal. This is it. And so what does that mean for the retail automotive business? Well, it means that there's going to be continued tightened and or short supply on new vehicles. Dealers are going to be measured, as they already are, on how quickly they turn the inventory, being that they're only going to get a certain number of cars per month. So it's all about turn. The manufacturers are going to put continued pressure on the dealers, to turn their inventory as quickly as possible. Used vehicle values and prices are still going to be high, and consumers are still going to have to experience, some levels perhaps of frustration in the sense that they may not be able to acquire the vehicle that they want, and they're going to have to be a little bit more flexible about acquiring or buying or leasing a vehicle that is available to them. And none of this is, breathtakingly new. It's something that we're all talking about in the industry. But there's, at least from my perspective, many of us have been watching this thinking like, okay, when are things going to ease? When are things going to get a little bit more back to normal? And at this point in time, I've just resigned myself to say, no, this is 100% normal now. That doesn't mean this will be normal like this way forever, but right now it is. And so that doesn't really have to be a bad thing at all. There's a lot of businesses on our side of the table, in the sense that, retail automotive dealers have been very successful and very profitable through this shortening of inventory. Some of us on the service, or what you would call vendor side, have had some additional challenges and pressures as dealers in some cases have dialed back their marketing. But quite frankly, here at the Herman Agency, we've been very steady, very stable moving through this, and our clients continue to advertise and market their business in a very consistent way. And that is not only encouraging for us here, but I think that's encouraging for any of us in the vendor space, to know that dealers are still spending money to market their business. And certainly it's self-serving for me to say this, but I think it's necessary that they do so. And perhaps now more than ever, dealers really need to have a message out there to stay in touch with their consumers, to stay in touch with their marketplace, and in particular to stay in touch with their direct customer base. And so, one of the things that we are recommending and will continue to recommend, and again, a lot of dealers doing this, but we've got to make sure that we're helping our dealer clients message to source vehicle trade-ins, to source inventory, and to push the servicing of vehicles. And that's going to be the case for some time now. Dealers are still going to have a hard time finding reasonably priced used vehicle inventory. The stuff going through the auctions are going through at record levels. And we'll see some fluctuations in that over time. But at the end of the day, it's not easy to acquire, used vehicles at a cost-effective manner right now. And so we've got to help dealers, and dealers really need to get out there and make sure that they are sourcing trades. We will buy your car. We are buying cars. I mean, the message. We've all been doing this for a long period of time, but successful dealers right now are going to have a consistent message in the marketplace talking about how easy it is for you, the customer, to come into that dealership to sell your vehicle. You don't need to buy a new one. Naturally, we'd like to try and sell you something, but to give the customers and the people in your marketplace a very clear process on how it is that they can get out of their car, because a lot of people are seeing tremendous value in getting out of their car. People who have leases, who when they find out what the value of that vehicle is compared to the residual value of the lease, there's tremendous value there for a lot of people who might either not need all the vehicles that they have in their household, or might be willing to step down to a lesser vehicle. There's a lot of profitability for customers right now in terms of getting out of their cars. So, I just can't say enough about how important it is for dealers to be out there communicating to their marketplace about sourcing vehicle trade-ins. We'll buy your trade. I've said it before and I'll say it again. That's got to be the number one leading message. Number two is service. When you have a significant portion of the people on the road driving cars 11 years and older, and they're not able to get into new vehicles, perhaps the ones that they would want, or used vehicle is still too cost prohibitive based on the value versus the actual price, people are going to be staying in their cars longer, and they need to service their vehicles. And I know a lot of service departments are already backed up right now, and technicians are still hard to come by, but keeping that service drive full is not only going to be conducive to your bottom line as a dealer. It's going to allow you to stay in close communication with your customer. It's going to give you an opportunity to try to get people to trade out of their car on the lane if you have something that you can offer them. And so both a message of we'll buy your car and we'll service your car not only suit the bottom line of the dealership, but it suits the ability for dealers to be able to source inventory on the purchase side and also as those vehicles come into the drive. And this is going to be the name of the game for some time right now. I really feel strongly about that. And I think most dealers understand that. You know, the automotive industry has always really been able to thrive in challenging times, and we are right now. Dealers have always learned how to adapt to changing and challenged markets. And if this is, the situation that we're in right now, and we're going to be in it for some time, then we've just got to settle into that this is business as normal right now and business as usual. And in doing so, it's important that we get back to additionally a sense of excitement in the business, right? I mean, how many of you out there are dealers or are people working in the vendor space that have and continually do work with dealers, and you've watched your client base, your customer base, your competitors pull back their messaging? And what I mean, not even just like on spend, but I'm talking about pull back having specials on their website. You go to dealership websites and there's no specials, and you can understand, okay, well, why should we put specials out there that historically have been in the realm of offering some sort of price or payment discount on a vehicle? Dealers don't need to offer price or payment discounts right now. I mean, certainly an MSRP deal is at the bottom, a new norm, and you have dealers marking up with addendums. So I'm not suggesting that dealers put specials out there that would, harm gross profit or cut into gross profit. But I do think it's very important that dealers get back to putting some excitement on their website. Even if it's just, buy or lease today with 0 down, make no payments for 90 days. Or if there are manufacturer finance incentives available, then those should be prominently displayed. We need to let customers know that, yes, we don't have as many cars and the pricing, opportunities to customers has changed. But that doesn't mean that we need to stop telling consumers that there are still legitimate reasons to come into the dealership and legitimate reasons to buy and or lease from us, whatever store we may be. So accepting that this environment that we're operating in is the new norm really means getting back to fundamental retail automotive marketing basics, and that is creating some excitement about the products that you have, creating some excitement about whatever special offers you might have, being aggressive about sourcing used vehicle inventory through a trade-in or we'll buy your car message, and then additionally staying close and staying in touch with your customer database through service marketing and email marketing and retention marketing. And these are things that will serve all dealers as we go through the next year or two. I mean, who knows? I mean, the world is such a wild place right now. It really is. It's at this point in time trying to prognosticate about what may or may not happen. It's clearly at this point in time a fruitless effort. And so therefore accepting that this is the normal that we're working in. How do we make it exciting? How do we make it fun? How do we make it good for the customer? How do we make it good for the dealer and maintaining, these record levels of gross and net profitability? And it all comes back to marketing, messaging, process at the dealership, and making it exciting and fun to buy a car. Even if your customer has to wait 30, 60, 90 days, they're still going to be pretty darn fired up when they get their new or pre-owned vehicle. So that's my revised forecast. I don't know that we'll see, anything more than the 15 to 15.5 million new vehicles sold in the year 2022. But I certainly know that we'll face continued challenges as we move through this year. and just accepting and understanding and knowing that that's the world that we live in. Okay, good. Let's deal with it. Let's go forward. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my slightly revised 2022 forecast for the retail automotive field. I thank you all. I hope you're well. I hope you're all happy and healthy. And I thank you right here from the Herman Agency and another episode of On Deck. Thanks so much, everybody.